guys, Comic Boom here to start talking about Future State, and we're going to start off with one of my favorite comic books of Future State, and that is Wonder Woman, written by Joelle Jones, with written and drawn by Joelle Jones, and beautiful colors by Jordie Bellaire. Two amazing Wonder Women themselves, two wonderful creative minds doing a fantastic job, a very impressive job here on this opening issue of Wonder Woman. I got to say, I'm very impressed. And I got to tell you guys, looking all over the internet, the talk of Yara Flor, the new Wonder Woman, I love the fact it's nice to see what's being inspired out of this, the young, creative, artistic minds that are putting their spin on Yara Flor. I love Googling, when I Googled Yara Flor, or Google Brazilian Wonder Woman, and boom, all these gorgeous images come up. We all know anybody with a functioning brain and with eyes knows that Brazilian women are beautiful, and what a perfect choice for a new Wonder Woman. And to top it off, Joelle Jones, a beautiful creative mind in her own right. I think has really hit it out of the park here. I had some trepidation about Joelle Jones writing this new Wonder Woman because I was a little disappointed with her Catwoman. She is a very good writer when she does her own creative work. In particular, she did Lady Killer, which is really good. She wrote and drew Lady Killer for Dark Horse Comics, and I got both those trades. Great story, quite entertaining about exactly what it says, a lady killer in the 1950s and 60s, and it was a great comic. I was a little disappointed with her Catwoman. I thought that she sort of lost control of the narrative, but artistically she's always been fantastic. And wow, this comic book, the art really shines here. And the colors with Jordie Bellaire, this really pops off the page. This is a very impressive opening issue, considering that Wonder Woman left the DC universe. Diana Themyscira left the DC universe in Death Metal #7 on very much a low note, and she's disappeared. And frankly, I don't care if we get her back. I like Yara Flores. I like her character here. I love her. She's got an attitude, and she's from Brazil. Just a little bit of backstory here. The origins, and a lot of this you're not gonna get in this opening issue per se, other than the fact, of course, she is Brazilian. Now, just some facts about Brazil, because I think I don't know if a lot of people might know a lot about Brazil. Everyone knows that the Amazon rainforest is there, and we now know that a third tribe of Amazons resides in Brazil. Now, we don't know a lot about them, but we do know that the patron goddess of this third tribe of the Amazons, a female river god of some kind, ended up sleeping with Zeus, much like Hippolyta did, which gave birth to Diana of Themyscira. But this African, or I guess this Brazilian queen or Amazonian queen, or river goddess ended up sleeping with Zeus, and the result of that was this Yara Flor, this Wonder Woman. Brazil is the largest country in South America. It's got a population of 208,846,000. Official language is Portuguese, home of the real. And one of the, I'm guessing that one of the other cultural trademarks that Yara Flor embodies is her magic lasso. It's not really a magic lasso. It's actually I guess a bola. And another word for a bola is a boladoris, or a boliodoris. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but a bola is basically a weapon that has weighted balls on the end of interconnected cords, and you swing them and you throw them, and they were usually used, I understand, to capture capture the legs of fleeing animals. And well, Yara Flor uses that particular weapon to great effect. I really like the way that Joelle Jones has put this all together here. I'm not sure how much of Yara Flor, all her costume design and all that, I'm not sure how much that was all Joelle Jones, if she had input, but I do not know that Joelle Jones has done a really fantastic job of doing her own character designs. I believe she designed the Catwoman, Selena Kyle's wedding dress for Batman issue 50. And artistically, while there might have been some issues with her Catwoman run from a narrative point of view, I think that artistically it was gorgeous. one of the things that's improved that Joelle Jones has even managed to improve is she's managed to improve and introduce a little bit more kinetic energy into this, into her art for her illustrations here on, as you will see as we get into Wonder Woman. Now, this the issue starts off right away where where Yara Flor herself is saying that she's getting ahead of herself, and she seems to be battling sort of a dragon. She seems to have an attitude right away. I love the way she looks. This is a woman where she doesn't have she's not a skinny supermodel. She's a gorgeous full bodied woman here, and again just beautifully illustrated by Joelle Jones and with an attitude to boot. I mean, what's not to love? And it's Hell to Pay Part 1. I want to give credit to Clayton Cowles on letters. I already talked about Jordie Bellaire on the colors. Jones and Bellaire did the cover. Jenny Frison did a variant cover, which is in the background here on the thumbnails that I'm working on. Adam Hughes also did a variant cover. And we got the editors there as well, Pixie Brittany and Jamie S. Rich. But in any event, this issue starts off with a bang. I love the fact that Joelle Jones is not insulting the reader. She doesn't spoon feed the reader. This isn't really much of an origin tale. This jumps right into Yara Flor. It's in the future sometime. We're not really clear exactly when in the future it is, but clearly this is an adult Wonder Woman, a young adult who I'm guessing this is probably sometime in the either 2025, 2027, or maybe even 2030. And she is basically she's trying to rescue and rescue a fellow sister from Hades, which is basically the equivalent of hell. And she goes on this quest. And while she's doing that, you can look at this beautiful illustrations. I love how here she's fighting this the seven-headed Hydra, which I love. I've got a statue of Diana of Themyscira battling a three-headed Hydra, and it's one of my favorite statues. And here with Yara Flores, I love everything about her. And I know I sound like a carnal, maybe probably like a Purian fanboy here, but she's just gorgeous. I mean, there's a sexiness to this Yara Flor that she actually shows less skin than Diana, and in my view actually looks more sexy and yet powerful and vibrant and no nonsense. And one of the interesting things about watching her adventure here as she's trying to take down the Hydra, and then ultimately once she needs to acquire a particular horn on another wild, crazy mythological beast in order to gain entrance into Hades, and ends up meeting another fairy-like character called Kapora. While she's doing that, at first it was interesting because she seems to be almost, at first she appears irresponsible with her behavior. She appears very cocky, perhaps overconfident. And I like that there's an open question, I think, by the time one is done reading this, is she overconfident? Is she maybe just a little, maybe a little bit too overconfident, and maybe too sarcastic? Because this is not I don't see this Yara Flor getting on her knees and supplicating herself in front of Ares. You know what I'm saying? That's Diana at the Mascara. This Yara Flor character, she is kick-ass. I think she would actually choose to give you a bitch slap instead of asking you to do the right thing. And this is not a Wonder Woman like Diana, who's going to talk to you for an hour to try to talk you out of doing something wrong. Yara Flor, I get the impression, is just going to give you a bitch slap, and that's going to be the end of the matter. And if you got a problem with it, she'll take out her bolo, i.e. magic lasso, and probably wrap it around your neck. I mean, that's what I actually find this version of a Wonder Woman of another third tribe of Amazons very, very refreshing, and I think it's really, it's just a great thing. She ends up at the beginning here. She's trying to find her Pegasus, which she calls her Pegasus-like horse, and I say Pegasus because it just reminds me of the winged horse of Greek mythology. She calls her horse Jerry. There's no indication, as far as I could see, why she calls her horse Jerry, unless I missed it. But in any event, I love the fact that right away there's a majesty to it. She's not only does she have sort of what we might consider more of a modern day sarcastic tone to her and a personality, but right away Joelle Jones sets the visual tone up with the help of Jordie Bellaire's gorgeous colors, and we she's on top of a flying horse. It looks amazing, and she's got a really cool looking edged sword that I also like, and she's not afraid to use it. And the sword is not. The sword just looks more aggressive. Everything about Yara Flor, from her personality to her fighting style, appears to be more aggressive and less graceful than Diana, and frankly, I love it. I think it's a really nice change. She ultimately ends up coming upon a fairy called Kippora, who wants to doesn't want Yara to further sort of trespass on lands, but she doesn't realize that Yara's not going to take any nonsense from a forest fairy. I'm not sure what exactly Kippora is. She's almost drawn like almost she reminds me like of a little bit of an anime character with the big eyes, but beautiful. There's a great scene where Yara is confronting Kapara, and right away you can see the attitudes of the characters, and they end up going on. And this was a curious choice by Joelle Jones. They end up going on this sort of into what looks like almost a modern day subway, and to try to gain entrance to a mythological subway where people are dead, and they got to try to travel through the river Styx, and they got to pay the ferryman some money, and again, Joelle Jones doesn't sugarcoat this narrative. There's some open questions. There's some crazy. There's a black little devil-like cat character that is expecting to get paid, and Yara Flora, she doesn't have money. She basically just wants to get to Hades to rescue her sister. She doesn't care how she does it, and she has to force her way into it. She's going to do that. This I don't get the sense that Yara is much of a diplomat, and perhaps that's one of her character flaws, or rather, it's not even so much a flaw, but her lack of experience. She doesn't. She is, of course, she's a Brazilian Amazon from that third tribe of Amazons that the Wonder Woman, that Diana herself, the first tribe of Amazons, it was unaware of. And just to be clear, what we could consider the first tribe of Amazons, the original, is Diana Themyscira, where there's Queen Hippolyta, and then the second one would be the Bing Madal tribe, Amazonian tribe, where Artemis of Red Hood and the Outlaws, that Artemis was Wonder Woman for a while. That's the second tribe of Amazons, and this third tribe was revealed at the end of Steve Orlando's run as being located somewhere in Brazil, and it was in Wonder Woman Annual number 4, where there was a young Brazilian girl playing soccer, I believe, and that's believed to be the first appearance of a younger Yara Flora, Yara Flor, but that has not been confirmed by Joelle Jones or anyone that I'm aware of. If I'm wrong, feel free to leave a comment below. But in any event, I just love the creativity here. I love, again, I love that this whole thing, the mood is it's so beautifully set. I mean, literally the ferryman expecting to get paid, and Yara not having the money to do it. The fairy Kippora, the fairy going along with her, has just as much of an attitude as Yara herself, and it's you really get a sense here that there's she's in this subway, and there's people of all different walks of life. They're all dead. She's the only one who's alive, because you got to be dead to cross into Hades. And there's this one particular scene with a I guess a dead sumo wrestler, and he's got money, and she ends up with his coin for passage. And it there's something crazy about this, and it's again, this is not a by the numbers boring origin story. This is something we jump in, and Joelle Jones gets the adrenaline rush going. She establishes the character of Yara Flor immediately. You know that you're dealing with somebody who's no nonsense, that's got an attitude, and she's likable. I believe she's likable right out of the gate. And again, it's the colors here just pop off the page, and there's even, I mean, my God, there's even a what appears to be a hyena or a dog biting a sumo wrestler's ass, for God's sakes. I mean, it's hilarious. And as the dead sumo wrestler's ass is bitten, he loses the coin, and it's caught by Yara Flores, who she wants to use it to get across into Hades. And this particular first issue, and it's going to be 2 issues long, is ends with her having to confront this three-headed, I don't know, hydra dog. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not an expert on mythological creatures, but this is really well done, and we know that this is basically Wonder Woman versus the King of the Underworld. That's how these things are going to progress. And so next issue we can expect that Wonder Woman is, or this Yara Flora, the new Wonder Woman, is going to be in Hades. And again, what a wonderful addition to to Future State, a wonderful addition to the DC universe. I very much am looking forward to the continued adventures of Yara Flora. Yara Flor. I always have this temptation to call her Flora. I apologize. It's Yara Flor, and absolutely a welcome addition and a breath of fresh air. And I hope this is an example that for future writers of Diana, to maybe give Diana more of a personality. This is by far the best character of Future State, hands down. Future solicits, we are going to be getting an Immortal Wonder Woman where Wonder Woman's Diana is going to return. I have a sneaking suspicion Diana, upon returning as the Immortal Wonder Woman, is she going to be back to her old boring self, that very cowardly, did not take out the Batman Who Laughs, and who, in my view, failed in Death Metal #7. I think I think Diana of the Mascara has taken a serious PR hit in my mind. I've lost a lot of respect for the character. And while I could blame the writer, if I'm getting into the continuity of the stories, the reality here is that Diana she's just not up to task anymore. She's too boring a Wonder Woman, and I'm Yara Flor now, all the way until we get more of Diana. Diana's had decades to get her act together and to be interesting, and has utterly failed to do so on a level that is required of a character of that A-list level. So bring on Yara Flor, as far as I'm concerned. And I will be checking out Immortal Wonder Woman. Maybe Wonder Woman. Wouldn't that be great if the cosmic gods gave Diana a personality? Wouldn't that be great? So she might actually be interesting to read. We shall see. We shall see. I'm being hard on Diana. I mean, I do love some. Obviously, I review Wonder Woman all the time, but she needs to get propped up much better. In any event, I'm really excited for this new Yara Flor character, guys. You can let me know what you think about Yara Flor. I'm actually quite impressed. A lot of the open questions I have is, what does her bolo, her magic lasso, does Yara Flor's bolo have some sort of magical properties? Does it have the ability to elicit truth? Or what does it have? Because I'm sure it's more than just a bolo. In particular, also her sword. Her sword is, what's the history behind Yara's sword? Because it looks like a pretty cool sword, and it's got different edges on it, a different design. It seems to be thicker. It seems to be a little bit larger than the one that Wonder Woman traditionally uses. The one that Diana normally uses. I'm sorry, this is also Wonder Woman. She doesn't have a shield. She doesn't use a shield. I find that interesting. I also found it interesting. I like the design on her tiara. Yara Flor's tiara is interesting. It seems to be a little bit more of a rounded design. In my view, it would make a more effective boomerang type weapon than Wonder Woman's actual tiara, which was often put to good effect in the comic books, and even in the Wonder Woman 1984 movie, for that matter. But in any event, and the costume design is fantastic. And again, I got to give full props here to the art from Joelle Jones. I mean, just, you can literally page through the comic book, and even if you're not a big fan, if you wanted a little bit more, if you actually didn't like the story, which, because it is a little bit different. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, because there's a sense that Yara is not taking this all seriously. She doesn't take this mythology all seriously. Oh, you need coins to get to Hades. This is nonsense. Just get me there. If I got to kick some ass, I'll kick some ass. I really like that. She's, Wonder Woman would probably go in to try to negotiate and talk to the ferryman and all this nonsense. Yara Flor, no. I gotta go. I need your boat. Either let me on the boat or I'll take you out. Enough of this nonsense. I like that. We need a little bit more aggression, and thank God we're getting it with this character. This is a Wonder Woman I can get behind more than ever before. So guys, Tell me what you think of Yara Flora. I think this is a fantastic character. Will there be hell to pay? I certainly hope so. But it was heaven looking at Joelle Jones' beautiful art, and her writing was great. And thank you, Jordie Bellaire, for the colors, and for Adam Hughes and Jenny Frison on the covers, and the editors, all of you guys. I thought you did a really good job with this, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. And until next time, guys, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. Until next time, Comic Boom out. Whoa.